What's going on, gamers? So, oh boy, we got some stuff that's popping up again with the Series S. And with the Switch 2, we can shut down a lot of stuff too, but it gets very interesting. And we're going to highlight a post, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably know it's going to be a PlayStation fanboy. Yeah, it's one of them. But let's get into this, right? Battlefield 6 devs struggled to get it running on Xbox Series S, but there's more to this story. EA won't say anything about whether the upcoming and highly optimized shooter is coming to Switch 2. It will. We're going to talk about a lot of things here with that because it's going to get very interesting. Because I remember people saying no, and I'm like, you just don't know what you're talking about. Developers are being lazy. Now, this is where things get interesting. Before we read this article, let's get ready to highlight a pony. Yeah, the one who, you guys know, Zuby Tech, who still had me blocked since the beginning of the year. Yeah, he still has me blocked. I don't think that's never going to change. Yeah. All right, this is what he says. This is funny. We're going to get some comments too. Battlefield developers on Xbox Series S. I will say that the biggest thing we did that was a challenge for us was dealing with the console's limited memory. Xbox Series S does have less memory than even our mid-spec PC. I mean, for Battlefield, obviously. And so there was a point, I want to say like 6 to 12 months ago, where we realized that a lot of our levels were crashing on the Series S. But that's not the game we're going to be playing, or people are going to be playing. Well, obviously I'm playing on PC, but I'm just saying. We were doing so much testing, we were collecting all this data. Once we kind of started running all our levels through it, and we were able to see where the problems were after a month or two, we had kind of resolved all our memory issues on Series S, which is letting you know that they solved the issue. It is doable, even on Battlefield. Well, yeah, obviously, if you got certain other games that are just as demanding as that coming out as well, like GTA. Well, I told people, once you saw that coming, any game can. Just depends on the developer. And then he makes a comment down here saying whole game better and more stable. We're going to explain some things though. He says, of course, you completely leave off the part that details how optimizing it for the Series S helped make it better across all platforms. I was about to get into that before I even looked at this comment. You literally took that part of the comment out. Incredibly disingenuous. Missed reading that. Oh, no, he didn't. Zubitech's fake, let me tell you. So here's the thing. There was something said by Phil Spencer a while ago on this one article, and they asked him, do you think the Series S is a problem? And he was like, no, because I think that it would actually help developers become better. And I'm going to get to Unreal Engine 5 with that issue too. That if you scale down to the lowest, it would help you go up easier because you already mastered the lowest setting. Right? And the Series S helped them understand that. Nintendo knew about this forever. They've been using this method forever, and they've won and been successful. It's not about the most specs. It's about good video games, and is it good? Or you're going to hard set or try to look for things that you probably never would, and you had the good experience. And they know that. Most people don't care. I mean, we're hardcore enthusiasts on some of this stuff, but I know that like 70-80% of gamers are still not going to care. You know what I mean? But getting back to this, here we go again, for people trying to make it seem like that the Battlefield devs are struggling because of Series S. It's like, no, they were kind of just learning to optimize on a setting lower than their mid-PC. And it's a challenge that they took on, and it was no problem. They overcame it, as we saw it here, right? But of course, Zubitech wants to make it look like, here it is again, this game is probably having issues because of the Series S, along with all the other ponies, right? Because you know how that type of stuff goes. And that's why we had to come make sure we put him in his place so that we can realize that it's not that the Series S is a problem, it's just that devs, just like the Unreal Engine 5, were starting off at the highest and most maxed out specs so that you could promote the 5090s and the 4090s back then, right? Not the 5090 at the moment, because back then it was the 4090. And that all the engines are around those aspects, and people are using AI shortcuts. So when you're having that going, I could possibly see how that could probably be a problem here. And a lesser memory being uncomfortable to them because they're used to the memory they're using on their mid-spec PCs. Battlefield has always been a PC game, but it's been on consoles too over time. Basically what I'm saying is they're just not used to that, probably, because it's not what they're comfortable with. But that does not mean that the Series S was so much of a problem that they couldn't do it. Everything has been resolved, and now it's going to be fine. And since they can do that, they can do that on the Switch, and they make more money. You see what I mean? It's not necessarily a problem, it's just that they're not used to it. So let's go over ponies, sit down. We pretty much had to check that out here, right? Because we pretty much said the same thing with Black Myth Wukong, and what happened with that? I'm just saying, we've been here before. And every time you see some of these games come on the Switch, like Chronos to New Dawn, next gen only, Resident Evil, Record, you see what I mean? What are we talking about here? skill issue, lazy, and taking shortcuts and don't want to do the work. And some developers maybe work with them and get more involved. You know what I mean? But it's definitely doable and it's fine and you can enjoy a good experience. We're in this unfinished Unreal Engine broken generation, right? Mm-hmm. Oh man. All right. So going over Battlefield 6 dev struggle, we're gonna read this article now. Last month, Battlefield 6 open beta on PC and consoles quickly became one of the most played games of 2025. But like any modern game hitting Xbox in 2025, Battlefield 6 is launching on both the Series X and the weaker Series S. You just had to say that, did you, Kotaku? We know what's going on here. And according to the devs behind the game, getting Battlefield 6 to run on the less powerful console was a challenge. Earlier this week, perfect article for pony farming. Think about it. Earlier this week, Kotaku sat down within two Battlefield 6 devs to discuss the game's console ports, and for us too. And I asked if the team struggled while trying to get such a big and complicated game to run well on the Xbox Series S. So they wanted this so they could write this article and get this going. We've heard stories that Series S can cause devs headaches. We were already past this. And despite Fortnite Battlefield 6's engine being very scalable, the Series S still proven a tricky beast to conquer. I will say that the biggest thing we did, which a challenge for us, was dealing with the console's limited memory. We've heard this before. Explained Christian Bra, technical director of Battlefield 6, or Bull, sorry, however the hell you say that. Xbox Series S does have less memory than even our mid-spec PC, and Switch has 2 more gigabytes of memory than the Series S, but even then though, like, it's fine. Let's keep going though. And so there was a point, I want to say like 6 to 12 months ago, that's where we kind of realized that they were crashing. We read this before, right? And as a result, the team was focused on optimizing memory usage in Battlefield 6. And these improvements weren't just felt on Series S, according to him. Bull, I think. This process made the whole game better and more stable. But it improved the aim. Like Phil Spencer said, it's going to make you be a better developer, and it does. Nintendo has improved this. Nintendo has proved this. That's why when they get any type of specs, they max it out and they do amazing there because they're giving you still really good video games. As long as you're doing that, nobody cares. But if you have all these specs, broken engines and all this, and games people are not interested in, they're boring writing and all the same bundled imitations, nobody cares. How sugarcoated it is. It's not about graphics, not about specs. Most people have the Series S, not the X. Most people are always going to have the base console over the hardcore. Most people want that experience. So they're saying here, we were doing so much testing, we were collecting all this data, explained. Once we kind of started running all our levels through it and were able to see where the problems were after a month or two, it only took them a month or two. Man, what does that say about somebody else? Hey man, look, things are just coming out in front of us. Let's put it together. They're talented though, so that makes sense. Bigger team. So Battlefield 6 is now super solid and performant on the Series S. And we're running a smooth 60 frames. See, at the end of the day, they got it to do it and it's fine. See? And the footage of the game's open beta running on S seems to back that up. EA won't talk about Battlefield 6 on Switch 2. They'll just do a 30 frames per second mode or get a 40 with VRR if they get that on the console eventually. Add frame gen. I'm telling you, things are going to be good. Of course, with Frostbite being so scalable and the studio working hard to make Battlefield 6 super optimized, I wanted to ask if theoretically the game could run on a Switch 2. The studio is even implementing gyro controls on PS5 and PS5 Pro to let players flick around quickly or reload with the simple waggle of the gamepad. Well, if they're doing that already, yeah, I'm telling you, EA is going to do it because they've been capitalizing big time. They've been blowing up on it. eShop third party is doing way better now in the past month because, like I said, give it time. It just came out. However, when I asked if it would be possible for Battlefield 6 and Frostbite to run on Switch 2 based on the specs, and the EA rep stepped in and cut off Bull right as he began to say something because they probably wanted to be a surprise. Sorry, I have to step in there. Yeah, because if it didn't really matter, he'd be like, nah, we're sorry, that system is just, it can't work. Guys, it's right there. Think about it. Oh, we're sorry. You know what I mean? No, they didn't deny it or shut it down. He stepped in and, hey, not yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Come on. You know what I mean? We can't talk anything beyond sort of like the consoles that Battlefield are coming to. Once again, we can't comment on deals at the moment. Similar things, again, you know how this industry works, which is Xbox Series XS and PS5 and PS5 Pro, and they got the dev kits late. It's Nintendo, you know. Later on, when the team was talking about gyro controls, I brought up how the Switch 2 is excellent. Excellent, yes, was the response. So at least I confirmed that the devs working on Battlefield 6 thinks the Switch 2 has great gyro controls. Beyond that, nothing. Come on, y'all, man. We know what's going on here. Anyways, I'm very excited that to play Battlefield 6 once it launches on October 10th on my PS5 Pro. Yeah, it's going to blow away Call of Duty. Sorry, but game's too repetitive, and why would it need to be like you when it doesn't come out every year? And I don't want to see something that I'm tired of seeing every year that is now washed up and watered down, and I see something that's epic in its own soul and identity, and you want me to feel that I wanted something to be like that, which is over recycled like a factory game? Yeah, eat a dick. I don't think so. Anyways, excuse my language. Sorry about that. But let's keep going up though, but not really sorry in certain ways. You guys know what I mean. This shuts down so many things. And when this game comes to Switch 2, it's going to shut it down even more because you're going to have a handheld setting. See, when you have games like Chronos: A New Dawn, Star Wars The Outlaw, which got optimized for that because they wanted to do that, you know what I mean? Guys, see what I'm saying? And you have Resident Evil Requiem, Cyberpunk. Games are like, that's on Switch 2 now, you know what I mean? Final Fantasy VII Remake and a trilogy confirmed knowing that that's coming. What are we talking about here? GTA 6 could eventually too as well. It's up to the developers and how much resources they want to put into. Does it cost more probably to do that sometimes? Yeah, but if you work with them and you know you're going to make that profit back and you got that huge market to tap into, it doesn't matter because that's chump change compared to what you're going to be making for an audience. It's going to be bringing you in hundreds of millions of profit, maybe more. So that's the thing again. Now the Switch 2 further kills the Series S grift. Because we could use that to say, hey, look at these games rolling on Switch 2. What are you talking about? Nah, skill issue and lazy and all that other stuff. But there we go again. We shut all this down. You're going to have to sit down, Zuby Tech, and all you other ponies. All right, y'all, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. There we go. Later.